LPT, if you know someone who's feeling low, is dealing with a downturn, is feeling depressed or anxious, do not tell them that they can come talk to you, or PMS are open, go and actually talk to them. I've been the kind of uncle who doesn't want his nieces or nephews to go through childhood depression if they don't have a sufficient friend or family circle. I've always said, just call me if you need anything. I intended to let them know that they have the option to call me if they are feeling low. But after speaking with a friend today who said she routinely doesn't ask for help when she needs it, I think I should take the first step and be about what I'm saying and not just act the part. Hell yeah, man. It's so important to have a strong support net for kids. Also, aunts, uncles and grandparents are just as important for a kid. I moved into the walking distance of a 6-yo in the neighborhood of my in-laws just to give my kids the network I never had. First, we lived 15 minutes in the car from them. Husband and me were building the foundation and first 7 years of our marriage together. But now we are strong and I want to give my kids involved family. My soul lives 5 houses away and my in-laws live around the corner. My kids see them every other day and life is much easier for me too. As a mom, always a backup near, and when the kids drive me crazy I send them to their family, lol. And of course I do take more care of the family too. I'm at the moment waiting in the car while my soul has a doctor appointment with her 6-yo son. Did my groceries during. She doesn't drive a car. And I take my meal shopping when 72-yo Phil is too LTC. She doesn't drive either. But those things are way easier now when we live next to each other. My parents did everything on their own. I only saw my extended family on birthdays and holidays. We lived an hour away or more. I did actually always sought potential partners / husband material in men who did had a close-knit family. Now I think about it. For like 6 years we lived about a minute away from my cousins. My uncle lived like a 15-minute walk from us. It was great for us kids. I got to hang out with my cousins all the time and we went to the schools roughly the same age. You are doing a good thing for your kids as long as your family isn't too crazy. Very good advice. I'd like to also add that you don't even need to necessarily talk to them about what's wrong or how to fix it. Just go out of your way multiple times to just spend time with them. Hang out. Bring them to a movie theater. Play video games. Whatever. Depressed people often isolate themselves, and it's a downward spiral. When I was going through a super rough time and wasn't even leaving my room to feed myself, bathe, go to class or work, my best friends showed up on my doorstep. My roommate let them in, and then came to my room and literally just hung out and talked with me. They knew I wasn't going to go anywhere with them, and they were cool with meeting me where I was at. Them coming over with no expectations helped stop the spiral I was creating. I needed to feel seen and supported even when basic tasks were overwhelming. Those are fantastic friends. I also needed this, but had the opposite response. I was told they didn't have time for me, and to stop making my problems more important than everyone else's. Eventually they stopped speaking to me entirely, accusing me of pushing them away. I still don't understand. I did what you're supposed to do. I reached out. I told them I was struggling and I needed them. I didn't push them away. They turned away. Years later, I'm still struggling. It just made a bad situation that much worse. Every day I think about how little I was worth to the people I cared about, who I thought cared about me, people who always told me they were there if I needed them. I took them at their word. Please, don't do that to someone you claim to love. You don't need to be their therapist. Just be their friend. I've been there too. Currently going through this right now. Actually, I just wanted to reach out and say that, even though I'm a random stranger on the internet, I'm rooting for you and I wish you the very best. Nobody deserves to feel like they're alone and not worth the effort. It is nice to know someone out there understands, but also awful that you're experiencing the same. It makes you feel so fucking insignificant, helpless, and betrayed. I trusted these people to know and appreciate my value without having to constantly prove it, especially not when I'm feeling my worst. And it really fucks with everything. When the people you trust the most decide you're not worth their time, you either trust them and believe that you're not, or you don't trust them and wonder how you're ever supposed to trust anyone. I wish you the best too, and I hope you're better at handling it than I am. Also, I like your username. I'm a female software dev. Close bracket. This is so true. I lost a school friend to suicide, and a few hours before he did it, he posted on Facebook just saying he could really do with a friend to talk to. Cue the waves of people commenting and claiming they'd always be there for him if he needed them. While he was making his way to a bridge, alone. You don't need to make an announcement to the world that you are a good friend. Just go and be one. When I made a post on Facebook, I got 0 comments, but about 5 people messaged me privately. It's important. Hi, chronically and cripplingly depressed person here. Taken a serious downturn over the last couple of months, and while my personality and stubbornness generally keeps me bottling it up, I've found myself letting it escape in person and on social media to people around me. Friends and coworkers have definitely noticed a change in my personhood, and I've been hearing the whole "I'm here" to talk quite often lately, which is definitely an appreciated extension of them. But from my point of view, I and other depressed peeps have no idea how to follow up to that. Haha. Thanks for your thoughts. I'm feeling really suicidal lately and feel like I'm rapidly losing touch with reality and the world around me, and generally nothing seems to matter at all anymore. Isn't really something that is easy to respond to an offer with. What I very much appreciate is just easy and casual communication. One of the few friends who I've opened up to about everything, a rarity for me, messaging me periodically to ask how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, what I did that day. It helps me get out of my own head and reevaluate what's going on around me, and break out of whatever deluded idea I have of the world is in my head. I'm very much the type to joke about depression, anxiety, even suicide to people around me in an offhand way. I think a lot of people are used to that and don't really think I need any help because of that, which I guess is the impression I give off anyway. I guess my point is, check up on your funny friends. A lot of the time we're the ones who really need it. Also, this is just my view of it all from my own scope of mental illness. Obviously everybody is different, but I think the sentiment is the same. Thanks for reading. Edit. Wow, thanks y'all. I wasn't expecting much from this comment, but I got some upvotes and a few very kind messages. I appreciate it lots. Check up on your funny friends. This makes me think of Robin Williams. That quote of his about feeling loneliness in a room full of PPL. I'm the funny friend and definition. Wish my PPL could see past the humor to the hurt. Thank you for your comment. And thanks for yours. I find that supporting people who are going through similar experiences is a great therapy for yourself too. Thanks for the mutual vibes. Making people laugh and watching my dog play are the only things I really love anymore. I noticed too that funny people tend to be sad at home. That's rough. I'm sorry that you're feeling that way. I get it though. I'm a lot like that too. I love making people laugh, but when I'm at home by myself, I just sort of exist. Don't know what to do with myself sometimes. It sucks. Dogs are great, though. Me. After calling somebody twice and not getting an answer. Welp, can't talk to this person for 3 weeks, so they don't think him clingy. Me. After unintentionally pushing my emotional baggage onto my friends. Welp. I can't ask for help now ever again, because I don't want to keep guilt tripping everybody into suffering from my nonsense. Apostrophe. Didn't know this sub allows personal attacks. This 100%. When I'm at my worst, the last thing I want to do is PM a stranger. If a stranger PMs me, then I feel like I can PM them back. Yes, out of mental health education and awareness today revolves around it's okay to be okay. Let's end the stigma. I'm here if you need someone to talk to, etc. More focus needs to be put on educating people to have the courage to ask friends or family if they are okay. Not everyone dealing with mental health will just open right up. I don't like to burden people, and I put up a front that I have it all together. But I've gone through some shit in the last few years, and there have been moments where the only thing in the whole world I wanted was for someone to check in or ask me if I was okay. That never came. It sucked. I questioned a lot of friendships and family members as a result. I learned from it though. A few months ago I had a friend who seemed off and made a few odd comments. I asked her right out if she was okay, and she wasn't. I was able to talk to her and offer a bit of support. Anyways, to end this long rant, if something doesn't seem right, then it's not. It may be awkward. It may be uncomfortable at first, but please check in on friends and family and ask the tough questions to ensure they are alright before it's too late. TLDR, the worst answer to someone asking for help is to tell them to ask for help. Now that you've put it this way. What if I have a complex where I don't want people reaching out just because they're worried about me, but because they want to reach out? Oh boy. I feel this on so many levels. I want people to want my company, and when no one texts me, I feel so lonely. I knew my depression was getting better when I got to that place of okay. No, it's no use being upset with this person and thinking they don't care for me. I need help. I'll ask for it. I get the thought of when people only reach out to you because they are worried or they know you need help. It's like they are pitying you. I don't want to be pitied. I want to be loved. And there's the thought of I don't want people to worry about me. I don't want to be a burden. Like, you want it to be a pleasure that you're around, but thinking that people only reach out to you because they are worried. I mean, if they didn't want you, they would have never bothered to text in the first place. It makes no sense. If I don't appreciate someone, why would I care if they're okay or not? Honestly, reaching out to someone to say I need help felt humiliating when I was depressed. But once we started talking, I always felt so much better. For me, the first step of getting better was to punch my ego in the face and do it. Even though it felt humiliating. That was such a struggle. Maybe some of the PRs you were hoping might contact you because they know and love you and would enjoy your company were too scared of how you would respond and were waiting for you to make the first step. Maybe they just haven't stopped and considered the possibility. Maybe they would like to, but they feel like they have so much going on in their lives that going out of their way for even more friends feels exhausting. However, being contacted always feels nice and gives some room to vent. If everyone waits, nothing can happen. So definitely get the message out there that you would like to hang out in a I need help way or just a normal way. Both work. I agree. That's where the ego part comes in. People have lives and that's okay. Just because they don't spend every waking minute thinking about me doesn't mean they don't care. But depression makes you think some really irrational things. It's very self-centered and very self-deprecating at the same time. Not a good combination for sure. You just have to get over yourself and make that step. Maybe try to get out of your head and more in the mindset of what can I do for that person rather than what can that person do for me. Maybe it's just me, but taking care of others usually helps me feel at least a little better. I don't know. It all sounds easy when you're not depressed and is absolutely insurmountable when you are. Super accurate and important. It's so easy to believe that people who say stuff like that don't actually give a damn. It makes such a difference when people genuinely reach out to talk. Even if it's not anything deep, are you okay? Doesn't count. Also, if you know someone whose physical or mental illness interferes with their daily life, or has recently been diagnosed with a serious illness, offer to do something specific, rather than saying let me know if you need anything. It's unlikely that they'll reach out to actually ask for something, but offering to get groceries, bringing over a meal, picking up prescriptions, etc. is far more helpful. What's a good opening line for reaching out? My experience on both sides of the coin is that if you spend enough time with someone, you don't really need an opening line or something to show them you're there. Just be there and they'll figure it out more often than not. Usually people open up once they feel safe around you. There's no one-liner to make someone feel safe. Disclaimer, I'm not a professional. This opinion entirely comes from anecdotal evidence between my friends and I. No real friends, and honestly I don't look for a sympathy talk, since not many are going through I'm personally dealing with. Already dealing with a lot like many people in general. The last thing I want to do is talk about what's going on. This will sound cheesy, but it helps me a lot by writing it down in a journal. You can burn it, rip it or destroy it after. Journaling was one of the best things I started when I was real low. Doesn't even have to be a typical journal entry. Just drawing or poems helped so much. I find that also, a lot of the time when someone does open up to people just shut them down as attention seekers. Dude, fear not attention seeking. They need help. Fear not making some shit up for internet points. They need help. And they need your help. I have seen a 14-year-old attempt to commit suicide because he got cast out of a group of friends after telling them that he was suicidal because they just saw him as an attention seeker. He was fine and he is doing better now. Glad to hear the kid got better. Can confirm. Talking to a friend who did this is what finally pushed me to go to therapy, get medication, and ultimately to come out to her. Happy to hear that. What's a good way of talking to them? Ask how they are really doing. Talk about life with them. When they say they are depressed / suicidal / the meds aren't helping, what's a good way to respond? Especially if they're already seeking professional help. I never know what to say. Always afraid I might say the wrong thing. My experience just listening to them seems to be what's most important. I try to also remind them that whatever they are going through they will eventually get through it. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it can mean a lot to someone. This tip is right on. I was struggling with depression and anxiety, withdrawing at work and my career was starting to suffer. My co-worker started connecting with by walking by my office and just tapping on my door and waving at me. No conversation. Just making me feel noticed. After a few weeks, she used the instant messenger at work to say hi a few days a week. She met me where I was instead of expecting me to come to her or join the office friend group. I got my depression and anxiety under control with medication and counseling, but she made a huge difference for me and helped me regain my confidence and my place in the office. That is nice to hear. Agreed. My friends and family offer support and guidance all the time, but I don't want to make the steps to reach out for the help. They all know my situations, but I'm reminded constantly that I'm not reaching out enough or I'm not visiting as often. Well, it takes two to tango. So if you offer follow up on it with giving the support, if you know they need it, but don't force it down their throats either. Sometimes even when I'm getting the help I'll be mad / upset or sad about it and feel worse and not ask for the help again. Really, just so much of this. I cannot express how much just doing it matters. I'm so tired of seeing posts about you can reach out to me if you need to. I know it's in good faith, but when I can't even get out of bed or shower, how do you think I'm going to reach out to you or find a therapist? Speaking of, one thing you can do that I wish people have done for me is call some therapists and maybe even help set up an appointment if the person is willing. Maybe offer to drive the person to their first appointment, since it can be stressful. My family members have just shouted at me that I need therapy when I have not moved for days and I'm like, sure, that sounds great, but I can't even text you to tell you I'm alive and that's why you're here, so maybe some help with that. True. My current ex, who we just broke up each other a few months ago, asked me why I didn't tell her my problem and stated that it was disrespect toward her because I didn't trust her enough. I understand where she is coming from, but I mean, I wanted to, but seeing her being stressed out all day from work prevented me to do so. She already had enough on her plate. Why do I have to go and put some more in there as a man who has depression? It's really hard to tell her the issue due to insecurity as well, since there are way too many couples who breaks up because the partner can't stand of dealing with a depressed person. Only if she did ask me actively, I then would fucking cry in front of her telling her everything. I fucking would, but they're 16 hours away, struggle with opening up and will only talk over text. I would love to go help and comfort them. I guess you could always message them first. Most of my friends are a bit away and all I can do is virtual messaging myself. I try. It just hurts when I can't be there to help and comfort them. Am I the only one that would hate that when I'm feeling down and depressed I crave my space and to be alone? That would make me feel way too crowded and much more anxious. This is good advice some of the time, but I know quite a few people who would feel this is an exhausting thing to deal with. For me, personally, I often feel interrogated when someone asks more than a simple "Are you okay? Do you want to talk about it?" If I want to talk about it, I'll ask you. If I can vent to you. Maybe because they want to help, but don't know how. You should just talk about random things to make them feel like there's someone they could spend time with. Opening up should be their decision, not a demand. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.